Okay, just before you all joined, Andrew Miles and Ros Healy, we were having a little natter. And sorry I kept you out of the scene. Um, Today is going to be a little bit more interactive than it normally is, and it's because I was just saying that I think March is a long month. It's a little bit like January. And because of those 3 extra days, do you know it actually spans through 5 weeks? And it is effectively quite a bit longer. And I think some people might be glad to say goodbye, March. Really glad you've gone. And like April is a fresh start. Okay, now it's a fresh start, I think, more mentally. If you've got reoccurring passive income, it's we don't start at zero. But I think in our minds, we've got to look at things slightly different. And I'm going to share with you some realities. Utility warehouse are putting, I feel they're making things quite complex. There is a lot of stuff that we have to think of. We keep asking for simple, but simple doesn't seem to come. And you may be feeling a little bit like me, and I don't care if Stuart Burnett hears this and sees it. I feel that somebody upstairs has made me have egg on my face, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. That I have gone round saying to people, well, this extra £100 is ending. It really is the last, the 31st of March. And they've gone and brought it in, haven't they? And it's a bit like what's the old saying when you can't quite believe someone anymore? And I'm like, do they think I'm telling lies? And I don't like that because that's not my nature, because I don't. Okay, I seriously don't tell lies. So I feel a little bit like, oh, there are some more people now I can go back to and say, oh, I know it was meant to end, but amazingly, they've continued it. And I think there's good reason they've continued it because, in essence, it's a tight market now. Is that all right to be honest with you all? It's a tight market. And that extra £100 is actually needed to bring about a bit more difference in saving than would be there. But I'm going to share with you just the most salient things that you need to be thinking about going forward. By the way, is it a given? Everybody on here has booked their power up ticket, yeah? You're going. I know some, yeah, right. Really important. It is very important. If you don't show at this event, you are going to miss out on an awful lot. And they're actually making it now that being at the event is actually important to actually receive things as well. So, for example, you haven't got a chance of going to this festival if you're not even at Power Up. Nebworth House, yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to it because Piggy Fest was such fun. I could do Piggy Fest over and over again. It was great. All right, so that's one thing. But also, I always think in the run up to Power Up, it feels a little bit like we really need to step up a gear. And I feel that panic can ensue. Please don't. No panic. You don't need to have panic. There is just some simple things you need to do. And actually, let's bring it back to basics. Do you know what? There's two things what this business is about. Well, there is three, but two is the main thing. One is help people reduce their bills, which helps you earn some money. And two is help people to get out of the financial rut or debt they're in by offering them an opportunity to earn some money by helping people reduce bills. It's that simple. It really is. And if you could keep it to that, you don't have to worry about all this other stuff. Have I got the points for this? Have I got the points for that? Oh, you don't have to even think about it because if you actually just do those simple things, do you know what? It all comes. So don't get in your heads muddled by all of that other stuff. It's just not worth it. Let's keep it to the simplicity of what it is. So now we've got it down to the simplicity. There's the crux. What's the hardest thing of this business? Getting the appointment. Is that true? Generally, if we're in the door, it's nearly always a given. But the hardest part is getting people to realise the importance of why we need to see them and show them. Not to gather bills and start doing sums and going online and working it out and then going back to them. I see this stuff happening. That is not how we do this. We actually make appointments and we see people. By the way, that does include doing it by video call, Zoom. Okay, it is the two things. So you need some good things, don't you? You need some good scripts. Okay, now I think the one that they've now got on the Fast Start plan is absolutely brilliant. It's no more the cloak and dagger. Do you know what I mean by cloak and dagger? Where you keep it all a big secret. And you don't ever mention that it's utility warehouse. I think we're beyond that, ladies and gentlemen. And I think the company realizes it too. Okay, so there are some really good scripts. And I'm thinking I might actually type them out and I might send them out with the follow-up recording. Okay, so let me tell you a few that are really, really good. How about this? You could use this anywhere. Hi, I'm Lisa. By the way, you've got to be you, not Lisa. Is that all right? Hi, I'm Lisa. Bet you'd love to know how to reduce your household bills. AI can't, but I can. Nice? Yeah. How about this is not a sales pitch. It's a wake-up call. And you're definitely overpaying on your household bills. There's the wake-up call. Bit cheeky? Could have a laugh with that one. Got to do it tongue in cheek. You could say to someone, well, it's a bit like an MOT for your bills. I find the bits that aren't working and I help you fix them. It's a 100% free service. Does that sound good? Are you liking some of these? Okay. How about I can promise you an energy bill that won't drain all your energy? Oh, you got to say that tongue in cheek, haven't you? It's a little bit corny, that one. How about imagine being able to see and understand your energy bills, broadband bills, mobile bills, and insurance, just simply all in one place. Do you know what? It's a real game changer. Yeah. And as we were saying before we got going, I think many people actually find the act of thinking about switching everything quite scary, because maybe for years they've plodded along and they know where things are going out of and it's on direct debit and the gas and electric, well, it goes out on that day and the broadband goes there and I know where it is. Are we all aware how much we as human beings don't particularly like change? Are we all aware of that? Yeah. Can we all admit we're the same? We've all got that going. Yeah. So you've got to bear in mind that we've got to make allowances for that kind of thing. But I tell you what I found is a real good one. And here, oh, I've got to let someone else in. Hang on. Oh, it's a new person too. It's lovely. Her name is Michelle. We'll say hello when she comes in. And she's there. Michelle's there. So here's something that I've learned. And I believe this and I say it. Look, over the last 20 years, what I've learned is nobody likes change. They don't. However, if they can see significant value or benefit to that change, then they will. A bit like changing your car. You know, when you get used to your car, but when things start to go wrong or things happen, this is a bit similar. And so people tend to come over initially for value, but what I say to them is, you'd be amazed how what they tell me within a few months, how they love real people, proper customer service, and the simplicity of having that bill that's easy to get hold of. Yeah. Those are absolute given and facts. And what makes us different is we go the extra mile. And sometimes we don't just do it metaphorically, we actually do it physically too. Okay, we actually do go and see people, which you don't get with other companies. Now, I'm going to share something, right? And it's about bills, and we're going to talk about energy because this is really important. This is fundamental. And I learned a fantastic script off a lady who's a senior group leader. Her name's Claire Bracey. She's been in about 4 years. She too, actually, is police officer. Like I was an ex-police officer, and she's a northerner, Yorkshire lass, and she says it how it is, which I quite like. But here's a award-winning line that you can take on board. When you speak to someone and they go, oh, well, I'm absolutely fine with my bills, I always say to them things like, so if I asked you right now, could you locate your bill in 30 seconds completely and find all the information? Do you know, in truth, the answer is most people, it'll be no. They struggle because they don't remember the passwords. They get onto an app which tells them so much information, but none of the stuff they actually need. And then they don't know where to go in the app to actually find what is always a PDF download. And then even when they find the PDF download, there's about 6 or 7 pages. And it's like, what does all this mean? In fact, I say to people, I feel that the industry has made it complex on purpose, and you need an ology to understand it. And then that's where we come in, because we simplify it all and we help them. Now, that is a very different premise to what other companies will do. They'll leave them very much to their own devices. They will speak to faceless people, probably never the same person twice, and they could be in far-flung places of the world like Glasgow. Have you ever tried to understand a broad Glaswegian? It is hard. I've got one in my team. He's lovely. His name is Tom Rankin. I have to go into heightened listening mode to understand. It is a foreign language to me. Yeah. But we make the difference. Now, hear this. You will get people, I promise you, they turn around and they go, well, I'm only paying £120 a month, but your system's saying it's 140. And I'll say, yeah, but you've not got the information I asked for. I need the annual kilowatt consumption based on the last 12 months, because that's all a company can go on is what's happened in the past. And I then need what they say is the projection forecast for the next 12 months based on what they used on the last 12 months. They say, yeah, but it's £120. I say, no, they could make it up. I tell you what, they could say to you, you may pay £5 a month. You could pay whatever you want for those bills. Aha, but D-Day comes 12 months later when your actual usage at your actual prices comes to fruition, and all of a sudden you're in debt. And that's the bit that they don't quite understand. And that's because they don't really understand budget plan. Have you ever come across people? It's especially prevalent. I tell you when it is. It's about sort of October, November, and they are accruing a credit ready for the winter usage. On budget plan, I do lots of gesticulation, and I say to them, look, This is January and this is December. All right. And there's 12 months in between. By and large, you've got summer months where you use far less energy, especially gas. Sometimes the gas even goes off for a few months. So the curve of usage looks like that. And they go, yeah. And I'll say, right, that all that makes up your annual kilowatt usage. They then take that annual usage and they divide it equally by 12 months at the price set. Now, that is what the mean monthly amount should be. So you pay the same in the summer as you do in the winter. And by October, November, you've probably accrued a lovely credit ready for the winter usage. That credit is correct and it should be there. That has to be spelled out to people because they do not understand. And there are companies, ladies and gentlemen, and this is real, and I see it all the time. Some of them are really bad. Some of them, I don't even mind saying the names. And one of them is OVO, that took over what was called Southern Electric. OVO have been fined 2.3 million for misbilling. Okay, and they did so last May on the 23rd. It's all over the internet. You can look it up. And there were another couple of companies that were also fined as well. And in reality, OVO have not been sending out correct bills. They've been really naughty. In their app, it says what the kilowatt rate is, and you'll meet people who think they are so smug and clever. Oh, well, what's your kilowatt rate? Actually, in OVO, it's got it, but you have to click a tiny little I, and then it tells you it excludes VAT. Prices are never meant to exclude VAT. It also says there's another I, and it excludes the standing charges, which are excluding VAT. How naughty is that? So sometimes you can be given bills and you need to really look at them, because what we've got to do is include all that, because our prices include everything. Standing charges, the amount, and VAT at 5%. So I say to people, I'm coming to demystify. And even if you don't take up on it, do you know what? You're going to be a lot better off in the knowledge of understanding what you didn't understand before. Isn't that a rather nice thing to do? Does that make sense? Do you think you might get a little bit more that people will go, yeah, yeah, okay then, yeah, let's do a meetup. All right. What you must never do, and they will try and do it for you. Some people will say, oh well, do you know what? I'll throw you over my bills. Give me what you've got, and then come back to me. No. It's the whole thing. And I can see Roz's face is a picture. It's real. We go there to demystify, but we go there for another reason. We go there to show them, do you know what? Have a look at my bills and see how they are. Have a look that my everyday spending has meant, let me just let someone else in. My everyday spending has meant that actually my husband and I have never paid for the broadband and line rental, and we've never actually even paid for my mobile. Wow, you can't beat free. Now, yes, we are paying for them, but this clever cashback card is absolutely sensational. And it absolutely is the best card on the market. There is nothing at all to beat it. The Times looked into it. There's all these other ones. The banks offer 1%. People go for air miles. I tell you what, there is nothing that beats this. So my accountant says, generally speaking, Lisa, your household, your account is generally yielding on average 45 to £50 cash back. He says to me, do you know what? If you really think about this, you are earning money, but there's a real plus. Do you know the inland revenue don't get their filthy paws on it, and you're not paying tax and insurance? There aren't many things in life that come free of tax and insurance. You've got to help people see this, because they don't, because they're just used to what they're used to. And we are coming along with a concept that is different, and it's clever. And we're going to show them a way that they can seriously reduce their bills. I helped a lady last week, 91. Now, because I paid a visit, she now understands the cashback card. Quite sensational. And she said to me, so when I go and visit my children in Australia, I thought, wow, 91. She said, I pay about £3,500 on flights. Can I load up my cashback card and pay for them? I said, yes, happy days. And because she's got four services, that gives her, on top of the unlimited partnered retailers, you know, where you like B&Q, Clark's, you can spend as much as you want and you get that full percentage. Outside of those, we earn 1% according to the number of services. So we're on four and we get a full £1,500 a month spent at 1%. So I said to her, if your flight's going to be about 3,000, I said, what you do is you're cunning. You can pay for flights in portions. I said, pay a deposit of 1,500 one month and pay the remainder the next month. I said, you'll get all your money back. Oh, she said, I like that. She said, I think my financial advisor would like that. I said, oh, are you going to recommend him to me? And she said to me, Lisa, you are so clever. She said, of course I'll recommend him. She said, because I know he doesn't use utility warehouse. I said, do you know what, Pat's even lovelier. You're going to get £50 off your bill. I said, that £50 you're not paying tax and insurance on. That's worth about 85.90. Oh, wow. Can this be done just by faceless over the phone? I don't think so. I think it's about being with people, whether it's in person or whether it's like this through Zoom, and not jumping in and out the door in 20 minutes, but giving your time. I've always said this is an upfront business. You're doing a bit of work at the beginning, okay, to yield incredible returns. So I've always allowed a good hour and a half for my appointments, sometimes two. If you start going over two, you're doing it wrong, I think. Really, yeah. You're going into too much detail. And do you know that if people are confused, they do nothing? Are you aware of that? Yeah, okay. So 2 hours work that could yield you 250, possibly 350 for seeing someone for 2 hours. Because if you did one a week, each one on a homeowner is worth an extra £100. So think about this. A 250 is worth a 350. A full service 300 is worth a 400. That's a lot of money. Guys, I said keeping this simple. Come on, take this on board, and some of you aren't doing this. Even if you do one of those a month, keep doing one a month, and you're now going to earn another £150 credit off your own bill. That's £1,800. I've just sent something out to the teams, which is, here you are, the government. They're certainly not serving us people, are they? What's going to happen? Companies are going to pass on all that tax. People are going to see another 3,500 a year they're worse off. You can say to someone in all truthfulness, come on board as a partner. Let me show you how. If that, I'll be putting money in your bank account in the beginning. And do you know what? Even if you only did 2 hours a month, you can make up that shortfall of 3,500 loss. One customer a month. Guys, think about your teams. Think about this. If everybody did one homeowner a month, do you know how wealthy we would all be? If I had all 3,000 of my team just do one customer a month, oh my gosh, that's some serious money. Imagine when you've got a team of even, let's say, 40 people, if they just do one a month. This is a lot of money that you get in residual income. But what I think we do is we complicate it, and we try to get people to feel They've got to do loads and loads and loads. No, they haven't. Network marketing is simple. And Robin Brooks, NNL, said years ago, and I loved it. He said, it is a lot of people doing a little creates a lot. That is the premise. That's what we want to get people to do, not to feel, oh my God, but I'm already working 66 hours a week in my day job. I can't possibly do this. I haven't the time. Yes, you have. I'm going to share something on the screen for you all. This is Big Al, Tom Schreiter. Incredible man. Here we go. Hopefully you can see this. I get his Big Al Tom Schreiter tips. Do you subscribe to them? You should do. Yeah. So he says 24 hours plus one doesn't work. Prospect. Sure, I can set aside 1 hour a day to start this part-time business. Great. By the way, how many hours a day are you using right now? Oh, well, I'm using 24, of course. Well, you can't do 25 hours in a day. So what are you going to give up for that 1 hour? Oh, that's going to be hard. I really wasn't planning on giving up anything. I'm out of here. I quit. Now, that is most people's attitude. It doesn't have to be. What are they prepared to give up just in a day, a little bit, and that done in an appropriate and concerted way can yield them so much good money that they can actually start lessening the hours of what is absolutely causing them masses of stress. Because why are people working so many hours? Because they're trying to make the money to live up to the lifestyle. True? Or, let's be honest, at the moment, it's not a lifestyle. The government is making it so hard for people, genuinely. How on earth are they meant to save? How can they save when everything's going up? Did you see how many things are going up today? It's ridiculous. Yeah, 5 things. It's ridiculous. But we've got a way of helping people do a little to create a lot. So I think it's our job as existing partners to show new partners, just get going, get off the starting block. What's the old Chinese proverb? A journey of 1,000 steps begins with one. Yeah? And in fact, that could be for any one of us. If you've had a bad month, draw a line in the sand right now. Say, right, that's the past. Now I'm going forward. It's a new day. It's a new month. I'm now going to start my little journey. And it starts with starting. I've got a saying which you know, a lot of people have taken it. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. Sorry, just fact. And my late husband, bless him, he used to say, a distributor isn't a distributor until they're distributing. I know Lindsay's laughing at that one, but it's true, isn't it? So you've got to actually make a start, and that's all of us. So don't think about loads of things. Think about, let's get going and let's get some prospects. I have many more of these lovely one-liners. I'm going to bother to type them out, and I'm going to add them to the recording. So unmute, and I want to ask you, this was real simple stuff. Has that been helpful? And is there any questions? Or are there any questions, I should say? Anybody? Or have I dumbfounded you?
I think it's just a case of we all know what we should be doing, and you've just confirmed what we should be doing. And I think we'll do it.
Yeah. So
Yes.
to say to you, we are busy, and we are busy with lots of different things. And we do have lives, all of us, yeah? So I met up with my eldest daughter because tomorrow it's her birthday and she's doing stuff with her friends. That's what happens, isn't it? When they get in, well, she's 41 tomorrow. They had the big party last year. But we found 2 hours today, and we went to a garden centre because it kind of married up halfway each, which meant that she still had time to get back to pick up Albie, my middle grandson. And we chatted about lots of different things. But she noticed something that I did as I was stood in the queue waiting to pay. The lady turned round to me and said, "Do you have a Haskins loyalty card? Do you ever get that when you're in the supermarkets? Whatever. Boots do it, don't they? They all do it." I said, "No." And I pulled out, I said, "I've got the best card in the world. This eliminates the cost of my services just by my everyday spending." And the woman said, "How on earth does that do that?" I said, "Now's not the time or the place." I got my phone immediately, ready on contacts. I said, "Just give me your first name. I'll put Haskins in your number and I'll send you some information." Now, I don't know what may come of that, if anything at all, but that was not a difficult thing to do. And I did not sell. Did I sell? No.
No.
Because do you remember the old adage? Everybody wants to buy, but nobody wants to be sold to. But she's now waiting for my information, and I purposefully haven't sent it immediately. I'm going to do it a bit later. But Carly turned round to me when we sat down and said, "Oh, Mama Woo, you are a laugh. You do this everywhere." And I said, "Yes, that's why I am where I am. Because it didn't take literally even 30 seconds to do that. And that can be done anywhere at all." Now, the woman could have turned around and said, "I'm not giving you my number." But I've never actually had anyone say that. Never. Because she was interested. How on earth was me using this card going to mean that I didn't pay for some of my home services? It was like, whoa, that sounds clever. Okay, so is that giving you some ideas to go forward?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Next week, we're going to do a specific topic because someone has sent me privately that something they'd like, and I think it'd be useful for you all. So, without further ado, same time, same place, next week, 4:30. Lovely to see you all, and I will send out the recording this evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Lisa.
Lisa. Thanks, Lisa.